It feels a little bit scary admitting this, but honestly, I am scared that nothing is going to change in the next 5 years. I realised the other day that in 5.5 years' time, I'm going to be 40. And if I think about where my life is right now, and if I got to 40 and it was exactly the same now, how does that make me feel? Oh my God, absolutely terrified, not happy about it at all. Even though right now, I love my life. I'm really happy with where I am. I'm very content with my day-to-day life, with everything that I'm doing in my business, with my family life, with my friends, with my social life. I'm very content with where I am. And at the same time, I don't want to be in the same position in 5 years' time. And I feel like I've really enjoyed this chapter of my life. I mean, aside from all the grief and the loss and the heartbreak, I have really enjoyed this chapter of my life. I have needed this chapter. So the last 5 years, from like 29 to now, I've needed this space to heal, to focus on my own well-being, to be in some sort of comfort zone in terms of my family life. So I'm living at home with my mum and I'm very close to my family. I'm like a 10-minute ride from my nan and granddad's house, now just my nan's house. I am like 15 minutes away from my brother and sister-in-law, my niece and nephews. I am physically very close to my family and emotionally now very close to my family, or even more so than when I first got back from travelling back when I was in my 20s. And I love it. Like, don't get me wrong, I absolutely love it. I love that I get to do swimming with the kids every week. I love that I spent the last 4 years being able to support my granddad as he got ill, and then eventually he died in December. If I had been living my life the way that I had been in my 20s, like, let's say the breakup had never happened. So let's say at 29, my 5-year relationship didn't end overnight, and then instead of moving to Bali with my ex, I found myself back in my mum's house. Let's pretend that didn't happen and I'd moved to Bali and we'd lived there, and then we'd moved from Bali to somewhere else to follow his job. Let's imagine our relationship had worked and we'd stayed together. I wouldn't have been at home for the last 4 years of my granddad's life. And that makes me feel a little bit sick because my granddad was my favourite person in the entire world. And the fact that I was stuck at home, not stuck, just what society tells you. And the fact that I was at home and able to be there to support him, be there with him for the last few years, see him as much as possible, take him to his hospital appointments, spend every single day with him right up until he died. I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful that I've had this chapter. And then since he's died, and then my nan died a few weeks later, having the comfort of my childhood bedroom, which has recently been redecorated, and being able to see my mum every day, and having the emotional and physical support of my family has probably been the only thing that's kept me going. Because if I'd been on my own, if I'd been living in a flat on my own, or do you know what's wild? If I was married and had the kids that I thought I was supposed to have by the time I was in my 30s, I wouldn't have been able to spend those last few months with granddad, and I wouldn't have been able to hold his hand as he died. And this is what I was thinking about last year. As we knew he was about to die, part of me was really, really sad that my granddad's never going to see me walk down the aisle. If I decide to have kids, he's never going to meet them. Yet at the same time, there's so much gratitude for the fact that my life didn't work out how it was supposed to, because if it had, I never would have got to say goodbye. I never would have got to do as much as I could for him the way that he supported me in my entire life. So even though I'm very grateful for what this chapter of my life has given me, it's allowed me to evolve my business from social media management to coaching to podcasting to content creation. It has given me the opportunity to really get clear on what I want to do, to actually make those moves rather than just say that this is something that I want to do. I've actually had the space and the support network to be able to do that. And at the same time, do I still want to be living here when I'm 40? I don't think I do. I love living at home. I've talked about this before. I love living at home. I feel like the relationship that me and mum have right now is so much better than, it's probably like the best that it ever has been, because we had a bit of a rocky relationship in my teens and then my 20s, and now I feel like we've got to a really nice relationship. And I know that one day she's obviously going to die, because we all die. And I will be grateful that I've had all this extra time with her, because you can never get that back. And at the same time, I'm very much desiring to have my own space now. I'd really like a place of my own. Like, let's be honest, I'd really like to buy my own place or even rent my own place before I end up like settling down with a husband or wife. Who knows what the future holds. I would really like that experience of living on my own. So I feel like that's something that I want to try and do over the coming years. Like, living at home during this period has also been amazing because it meant that I got to meet my niece and nephews as soon as they were born. I get to be a massive part of their life. Like, I get to be involved in everything that they do. I get to help out with their swimming and I get to see them at least once a week. And I love the relationship that I've got with them. I am obsessed with them, and it also makes me feel like, okay, I don't want kids because they are a lot of hard work and I honestly love them to death, but also love that I can give them back. So 5 years ago, I was healing from a breakup. COVID had just happened. I was in this space of I felt like I was starting at rock bottom, and being at home with my mum meant that I felt safe, meant that I felt supported, meant that I felt like I had this space to grieve, to process, to heal. And I'm so grateful for that. And then with Grandad getting ill, I was able to be there to take him to his hospital appointments and to act as his carer when during COVID times people weren't allowed to accompany you to your appointments. I was able to take him to the dentist, and whatever he needed, I was able to be there to support him and my nan. And then in December, Grandad died, which literally the worst thing that I've ever experienced in my whole life. I'm not okay, but we're not going to talk about that right now. And then 9 weeks later, to the day, my nan died. Not the married couple, which a lot of people seem to think is the case. It was actually my maternal granddad and my maternal nan. They died, and that has been horrendous. So I've spent the last few months grieving, and now I feel like I'm at the point where it's almost like a fresh start. I have this space, I have the time, and I have the freedom to really pursue what I want to pursue without needing to go to the hospital to visit nan or take Grandad to appointments or whatever it is. I have a lot more time and space now where I feel like the last 5 years has been a lot about healing and then supporting other people, whereas I feel like the next 5 years is really my opportunity to fully focus on me, on my business goals, on what I want to achieve in my life, and I'm excited about it. So yes, whilst I am going to continue to love the life that I'm living right now, I'm going to continue feeling like I'm thriving in the present where I'm at 34, I'm also going to be focusing on what I want to achieve over the coming 5 years. And to do that, although I've got this vision in my head, I want to get crystal clear on what that vision actually is. So in my next video, I'm going to be taking you through my visioning process, how I use ChatGPT to help me, how I get clear on what I want to achieve, and then what I do to really bring that vision together so that I've got something to anchor into every single day, so that whenever I'm like unmotivated or uninspired or feeling like, oh, I don't know what I want to do today, I can anchor into that vision and remind myself of, okay, this is why we're doing these things, this is what we are working towards. So I'm really grateful for this chapter and I'm ready to start a new one. If you would like to see what my visioning process looks like, then make sure you are subscribed, follow along, and I will see you in the next video.